Morning to you if you're just joining us on 5 Live. Stephen Nolan on your radio this morning, standing in for Victoria. It's 10 to 11. We're talking house prices today because the latest survey out from the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors says that house prices fell last month for the first time since June 2009. It's a net negative reading of -8, published by the RICS today. What's that mean? It basically... those figures are consistent with a slippage in prices of about 2 to 3% in the second half of this year. Carl's in Derby, Danny's in Wiltshire, Richard in Kent, Karen in Worcester. You're all helping us paint a picture of what it's like throughout the country. Carl, you're 18. What's it like for you, my friend? Morning to you.
Hi, Stephen. Well, I just hope prices keep falling, really, because I'm 18, going to be looking for a house in about 10 years after university. And I've only ever seen house prices rising far beyond inflation. So this, for me, is just the market reasserting itself. I want it to carry on, and hopefully it carry on, keep dropping, and in good time I'll be able to take advantage of it.
But Carl, think about people of my generation, double your age. I'm 37 next week, right?
Yeah.
So think about people that maybe bought 2006 levels, 2005. You want them to keep on dropping. There were hundreds of thousands of people, if that were to happen, if we were to get 20-30% further decreases in prices, that would be in massive negative equity. Would never be able to pay off our mortgages. Have you no sympathy?
Obviously, you've got to have sympathy for people who bought when the price is high and now it's going to drop. But you've got to look back to people who bought perhaps further back than that, 1985, 1990, 1995, and prices were rock bottom, really low compared to what they are now. And look how much money they've made on the houses that they bought. And now it's driving new buyers out of the market because they can't afford to buy a new house. So the market dropping, I can only see it being a good thing for most people.
Do you not remember, it was only a couple of years ago, Carl, that we were being told, I remember it, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we were being told by estate agents and others, by our parents, get in there, buy a property as soon as you can, because if you don't, it'll be 10 and 20 and 30% dearer next year. And you struggled and you stretched yourself as much as possible because you were terrified that by next year it was going to be 20-30 grand dearer.
It's true.
Listen to Karen here, Carl, for example. Karen, morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Karen. Carl here, he's 18.
Yes.
He wants house prices to fall further. What did you pay over the asking price recently, Karen?
36,000.
Over the asking price?
Over the asking price. It's a village in Worcestershire, a very sought-after village, and there was over 30 people viewing this property in 2 days, and we had to have it. And we went to sealed bids and got the house, and I'm very happy, and I couldn't care less if it was worth half the price next year. I'm never moving.
How long ago was this, Karen?
This was 2 years ago.
Okay, and 2 years ago, so what are we? We're late 2010 now, late 2008. All the warnings about the property market had already been out by then.
That's right.
You weren't afraid of getting caught up in this bubble again?
No, because this village is quite unique, like your lady in Winchester. It's got the schools, it's got the shops, it's got the gastropubs. It's not a dying village. It's a pretty village. It's a black and white Tudor village. People want to live here, and there'll always be a queue. And if
PricewaterhouseCoopers are right, their survey last month, they reckon a 50% chance, Karen, that your property, that properties in general, will be below 2007 levels in 10 years' time?
Well, I think that will be very nice for my children, but I'm not going to worry. I'll still be here.
All right. Well, you sound like you don't have a worry in the world, Karen.
I haven't.
Richard in Kent to you. Morning to you, Richard.
Good morning. Hello.
Morning to you. You're an accountant.
I am, yes.
Right. How do you call it, Richard?
How do I call it?
How do you call the market at the moment?
Well, I think it's still, well overpriced. I lost out in the previous, back in the 80s. I bought property at the height then, and I lost out. But it's unsustainable the way it is now. I like many other families in my area. I live in a village near Brands Hatch, and many families there cannot afford to move up the ladder because property is just too expensive for what you get.
I'll tell you what's surprising me today. I'm hearing a lot of comment, it's unsustainable as it is now. But property prices have essentially been flat, give or take 2 or 3%. I know the headline is it's down today, but they've essentially been flat all of last year or going up slightly.
Yeah.
Unsustainable is the type of language we were using in 2007.
Well, I don't see prices being that much cheaper than they were then. I know of a property in my street where I am that's on the market for not much less than it was 2 years ago. It's still on the market. You know, for me, that property's got to come down at least 20%, 25%.
I see someone on a text here. Here's it here. We put our house up for sale in October last year for 117 grand. After one viewing, we took it off the market at 89,000 quid. So they reduced it from 117 to 89. Still didn't sell. They said they got it let in 2 days. There's someone else there. Where did I see that? My dad's house in highly desirable Bray-on-Thames was valued at 1.2 million. He's had to drop the price to 1 million, and he's now willing to accept 800,000. So from 1.2 million to 800,000 quid.
Yeah. And the reductions that have been reported recently, they're going to be based on houses that have actually sold, aren't they? I mean, they're not taking account of the number of houses that are on the market that are remaining there for a long time. 1, 2 years is not unusual.
Exactly. Loads of text coming in about this. David in Cambridge says, I've been on the market for 22 months. I take it his house has been on the market rather than you, David, on the market. I paid 350 grand for a brand new house in the Cambridgeshire Fens. It's now on for 275. So that's 75 grand of a reduction. Many viewings as he had 3. David says, I'm sick to the core of the whole situation. The fact that I can't sell is one thing, but just 3 viewings is an absolute joke. Danny in Wiltshire. Morning, Darren.
Good morning,
Morning,
Steve.
Danny. Go ahead, Danny.
Steve. Good morning. First off, I'd like to say thank you to Jonathan Davis. The listeners need to listen to him. He's correct. We are heading for a huge crash. Housing costs itself are bad for the British people, bad for British companies, and also it's awful for the British economy.
Well, stability in a housing market is vital for the British economy, Danny.
No. How can that young lad,
stability
was it Carl, 18-year-old?
Yeah.
What's his incentive to go to work every morning? If he can't afford to buy a house, houses need to be 3.5 times the salaries. The government need to guarantee that. Banks need to guarantee it. And we need to stop these liar loans. Then Carl will be able to get back onto the market, provide for his family, look after his children, and provide for his future.
But what about those people that have a mortgage? What about those people that are already in property, Danny?
You mean these gullible people who bought over the last 2 years? We all knew it was going to come. We've been in a bubble. You're from Belfast yourself, Steve. You've seen what's happened over there. Recent television programme.
Oh, listen, I get stung. I get stung. I lost a couple of $100 grand.
Yeah, Steve, sorry for you. You're gullible.
It winds me up. It really does, Danny, when people say that to me, because we were told a couple of years ago, if you don't get in now, you'll not be able to afford a property. So what do? You sit back and you think to yourself, I'm working hard, I'm not going to be able to afford a house?
Steve, you're an intelligent man, but you listen to the people with vested interests. You listen to estate agents, you read the frontline headlines in the newspaper, you listen to the BBC newsreaders. What you should have done is go out there and look at it and say, is this house really worth a house, not an investment?
My life is full of things I should have done. Here's Chris in Oxon. Morning, Chris.
Morning, how you doing?
The UK national average of a house price below is 224 grand. Tell us your story, Chris.
I'm actually that guy you read the text out about 2 minutes ago. I put my house on the market in October for 117 and a half, and we took it off the market about a month ago after letting it for, we reduced it a couple of times and was selling it at 89,000.
And it still didn't go?
We had one viewing in that whole time. It was appalling. We had about 4 or 5 different agents over that time. Yeah, not good.
And this is the danger, Chris, isn't it? That and it's a dilemma that if you're sitting with a property and you're not able to get rid of it, and you reduce the price dramatically, and then you still don't get rid of it, you've devalued your house in one fell swoop for nothing.
We have. Well, the good thing for me was we bought 8 years ago, so we bought a much cheaper price, so we didn't buy in this 2-year bubble you're talking about. So we're not so bad there, but we're moving for relocation, so we didn't really have a choice. I had to move, so that's why we had to let it out in the end. When
you look, though, at that UK national average of £224,000, when the caller earlier was saying 3.5 times your salary, that means you need to be on what? You need to be on about 6 60 odd grand if you're a single person. Obviously 30 grand each if you're a couple.
When I bought my house, they wouldn't lend me any more than 3 times my salary, and I don't think that was a terrible thing to do at all.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much indeed. Loads and loads of you talking to us. I see lots of emails coming in. We'll read them throughout the show. It's Nolan at bbc.co.uk. The 11 o'clock news is coming next. Stay with us.
On digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Morning to you if you're just joining us on 5 Live. This is Stephen Nolan in for Victoria Derbyshire on 5 Live with the latest news, sport and interviews between now and 12 o'clock. As you've been hearing, house prices fell last month for the first time in a year. If you're trying to buy or sell a house, you've been telling us what's going on where you are.
It's mad down here, and we've been watching this market for 2.5 years, just waiting and waiting and waiting for the moment to pounce, thinking, right, prices are going to come down, and all that's happening is they're going right up again.
I've got to struggle to get a big deposit together. I've got to go to a bank who doesn't want to lend me any money. I feel a bit stuffed.
We put our house up for sale just at Christmas this year, and I was staggered when they came round and valued it at 188,000. 3 lots of buyers came round. Every one of them instantly said they'd pay the asking price.
It's the beauty of this network. You can help us wherever you are throughout the UK to paint a picture of what it is like where you're living. 0500 909 693. Also this morning we'll get the latest on former teacher Sean Jenkins, who's been refused compensation for 6 years he spent in prison before being acquitted of his foster daughter's murder.
I'm Will Perry, Aston Villa owner.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hello, BBC. Call 0500 909 693. Calls are free from most landlines, but some networks and mobile operators will charge. Text 85058. Text will be charged at your standard message rate. This is 5 Live.
It's always lovely, reading some of your texts. It makes me feel really good. There was me sharing my woes with you of how I lost my lifetime savings, a couple of $100,000 a couple of years ago in the whole property boom and bust cycle. And I read this text that says, your presenter wanted money for nothing. Tell him tough. It's lovely that, Will, isn't it?
Dire Straits.
You don't seem that concerned either.
Well...
You're all right in your flat.
I'm not even there. I just don't want to know what it's worth, really. It's horrible, isn't it? But
other people saying here, what about those people that are still paying big rents when property prices and mortgage rates have come down and the rents haven't reduced as well? Loads of you calling us on this. We'll come back to it later in the show. Here's Mr. Will with the sport.